Now, Iranian news agencies have published a map of the Strait of Hormuz, suggesting the Revolutionary Guard may have placed naval mines in the vital waterway. The circle on the map you see here is labeled Area of Danger. The IRGC Navy says ships must coordinate with them to avoid naval mines. Tankers that used to pass close to Oman, which is south of the strait, are now being told to take a more northerly route closer to the Iranian coast. Those shipping routes pass either side of Larak Island. That heavily guarded island is reportedly being used by the IRGC to monitor ship traffic. Well, let's speak to Uday Bhaskar about this. He's a maritime security specialist and director of the Society for Policy Studies. That's an independent think tank based in New Delhi. Thank you so much for your time. So what is your understanding, before we talk about this new route, what is your understanding first of the status at this moment of the Strait of Hormuz? Is it fully open, partially open? Are ships being allowed?
The current situation in the Strait of Hormuz is very, very uneasy. There is a lot of uncertainty about what Iran is trying to impose as the new regulations. And this is reflected really in the anxiety in the market, meaning that from the time the ceasefire was announced, the number of ships that have transited is a handful. At best, about 3 to 5. A Liberian flag, a Greek flag, a Chinese flag. And this, when the normal traffic in the Hormuz is between 130 to 140 ships. Primarily because nobody knows. I think there'll be a little more clarity after the talks in Islamabad tomorrow, Friday, on the 10th of April, about the new route that Iran is proposing. I have seen reports from the ground that the IRGC and other representatives of the Iranian military on the ground in that part of the world, between Larak and the Hormuz Island, which you can see on the map, are charging anything up to $2 million, which seems to be ad hoc per ship. So uncertainty, anxiety, we have to wait till tomorrow.
Quite a lot of uncertainty, as you say. So only a handful of ships, from what you understand, have passed the strait since the ceasefire was announced. You know, by saying that ships must coordinate to avoid contact with possible mines, what do you think is happening here? Is this real, the threat of mines, or is this maybe a way for Iran to charge, as you say, these fees?
If I was the owner of a VLCC, which means about 300,000 tons, whose value could be $250 million, between $250,000 to $300,000, I would believe the Iranians if they said that we had laid mines to prevent a US assault, an amphibious assault. So my short response is the Iranian caution about mines would be taken very seriously by merchant ships.
Okay. Now, by forcing the tankers from the traditional southern route closer to Oman and the UAE to a northern route closer to Iran's coast, this is, interesting. What do you think are the navigational risks and the strategic implications of this route change for the ships that travel through the Strait of Hormuz?
Prior to the 28th of February, Epic Fury, both Iran and Oman had a joint responsibility for this critical strait, the Hormuz. And ships would pass, enter, exit, and this was a very satisfactory arrangement. Both countries could claim a certain degree of sovereignty in their territorial waters, which is 12 nautical miles. But otherwise, the rest of the waterway was deemed to be international. And to that extent, Iran and Oman were being Sherpas for global traffic. Now, Iran is imposing new conditions, which Oman has not yet accepted. The latest reports I saw this morning, preparatory to the talks in Islamabad tomorrow, Oman has said that they do not subscribe to the Iranian proposal to impose a toll. Yes, Iran can impose a toll for specific services. Were they to say that we need to clear the mines, so therefore we need money, that's different. But it cannot be a ad hoc arrangement. where every ship...
Mr. Bhaskar, can I ask you about the risks here from a maritime safety perspective? What are the risks of rerouting all the traffic, all the tanker traffic to one side of the strait? And what are the economic implications also of this?
I don't think the traffic would be routed totally along Larak. My understanding is that there would be two routes. One, the entry into the Persian Gulf, the other is the exit. Iran is trying to control the ships that would be transiting Larak. So to that extent, if Iran takes the responsibility for clearing the mines or alerting shipping about mines and where they were laid, I think there would not be a problem. But it is for Iran to establish the credibility of maritime safety. And this is not new. If you recall the Iran-Iraq war of the 80s, at that time also, the waters were mined. And later on, they were clearly identified, and merchant ships ensured that they made safe passage by avoiding the areas that were deemed to be hazardous.
Thank you so much for your insight. Thank you for explaining this so well to us. C. Uday Bhaskar, Maritime Security Specialist, joining us from New Delhi.
Thank you.